First contact and misconceptions. The Galactic survey ship Eternal Seeker dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Sol system, its crystalline hull refracting sunlight in mesmerizing patterns. Commander Vixtel stood on the bridge, their iridescent scales shifting from deep purple to azure as they studied the preliminary scans of the third planet. Another primitive world. First Officer Nasri commented, multiple eyes blinking in sequence. Atmosphere saturated with pollutants, unstable tectonics, extreme temperature variations. Classification should be straightforward. Vixtel's attention focused on an anomalous reading. Curious. The electromagnetic signature is structured. Run a full spectrum analysis. The ship's sensors swept across Earth's orbit, and within moments, the bridge crew fell silent. Hundreds of satellites circled the planet in precise formations. Space stations hung in synchronized orbits. Most surprisingly, a network of defense platforms maintained a vigilant watch over the planet's approaches. Impossible, Nasri whispered. The preliminary assessment indicated pre-industrial development. This level of space presence suggests at least a Category 3 civilization. Before Vixtel could respond, the ship's communications array lit up with an incoming transmission. The message was clear, precise, and transmitted on frequencies that only advanced civilizations should know existed. Unidentified vessel, this is Earth Defense Command. You have entered restricted space. Maintain your current position and prepare for contact. Vixtel's scales rippled with surprise. They detected us through our stealth field. Interesting. Open a channel. The view screen illuminated, revealing a human woman with dark skin and silvered hair. Her uniform bore insignias Vixtel didn't recognize, but the authority in her bearing was universal. I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force. State your intentions. Greetings, Admiral. I am Commander Vixtel of the Galactic Survey Corps. We are here to conduct a standard planetary assessment and classification. Admiral Chen's expression remained neutral, but her eyes narrowed slightly. I see. And what classification did your preliminary scan suggest? Our initial data indicated a Level 1 developing world, but clearly, Vixtel paused as new sensor data streamed in. This can't be correct. Our readings show your planet experiences regular catastrophic weather events, tectonic instability, and they trailed off, scales shifting to a concerned yellow. Yes, Commander. Chen's smile held a hint of pride. Perhaps you'd like to visit our lunar base for a more thorough briefing. We can show you exactly why your classification systems might need updating. Vixtel exchanged glances with Nasri. Standard protocol dictated minimal contact with developing worlds, but this was far from standard. These humans had not only detected their cloaked ship, but had maintained a composed, professional response to first contact. We would be honored, Admiral. Though I must ask, how do you function in such an unstable environment? Our records show your species has faced multiple extinction-level events in your evolutionary history. Admiral Chen's smile broadened. Commander, those events didn't nearly eliminate us. They'd forged us. Every catastrophe, every challenge, every brush with extinction has only made humanity stronger. But please, come see for yourself. We have quite a story to tell you. As the Eternal Seeker followed the Earth vessel toward the lunar base, Vixtel couldn't shake the feeling that this routine survey mission was about to change galactic understanding forever. The sensors continued streaming data about Earth's countless environmental hazards, yet somehow humans had not merely survived. They had thrived. The lunar base came into view, a sprawling complex of domes and spires that spoke of engineering expertise far beyond Level 1 classification. But more impressive than the structure itself was its location, built on a lifeless rock, exposed to solar radiation and micrometeorites. Yet humans worked there as casually as if they were on their homeworld. Nasri, Vixtel said quietly, update our preliminary report. I believe we may need to create an entirely new classification category for this world. Already done, Commander. though I doubt anyone back at Survey Command will believe it. They'll believe it, Vixtol replied, watching a group of space-suited humans conducting repairs on an external array without any apparent concern for the vacuum surrounding them. They'll have to. We're about to discover exactly what kind of species can evolve on a planet that tries to kill them every day, and still reach for the stars. The challenge. The lunar conference room offered a stunning view of Earth hanging in the void, its swirling weather systems concealing the lethal environment below. Commander Vixtol sat across from Admiral Chen and her staff, struggling to process the briefing they'd just received. "Let me ensure I understand correctly," Vixtol said, their scales shifting to a troubled green. "Your species regularly experiences atmospheric events capable of leveling cities. Hurricanes, those are just the beginning." Dr. Marcus Rivera, Earth's lead environmental scientist, tapped his datapad. Holographic images filled the room. Towering hurricanes, earthquakes splitting continents, volcanic eruptions darkening skies. We evolved on a geological powder keg. Our planet's crust floats on a sea of molten rock, constantly shifting and breaking. Our atmosphere generates storms that can flatten entire regions. First Officer Nasri's multiple eyes widened. "Yet you build your cities anyway." "We rebuild stronger," Admiral Chen replied. "Each disaster teaches us new lessons. We adapt, innovate, overcome. Those cities you see, they're designed to withstand nature's fury. The ones that fall, we study why and build them better." Vixtol's scales rippled with disbelief. But why remain in such locations? Resources, strategic value, cultural significance. Colonel Yuki Tanaka of the Global Defense Force interjected. "Humans don't abandon what we value. We fortify, we prepare, we endure." The meeting was interrupted by a flashing alert. Dr. Rivera checked his pad and grimaced. "Speaking of enduring, there's a magnitude 8.2 earthquake occurring off the Pacific coast. Admiral, you might want to show our guests how we handle these situations." Admiral Chen nodded and gestured to the observation windows. The room's smart glass activated, overlaying the view with tactical data. Below, the Pacific Rim burst into organized activity. Satellite networks tracked tsunami formation. Coastal defense systems activated. Emergency response teams mobilized with practiced precision. "This is a normal day for us, Commander," Chen explained. "We don't just survive these events. We've learned to predict them, prepare for them, and minimize their impact. Your classification system measures technological advancement, but it fails to account for the crucible that forged that technology." Vixtol watched in fascination as humans coordinated their response across continents. Their communications were crisp, their movements efficient. There was no panic, only determined action. "You mentioned predators in your briefing," Nasri noted. "Surely with your technology level, they're no longer a concern." Colonel Tanaka laughed. "Would you like to visit Australia, or perhaps the depths of our oceans? We haven't eliminated Earth's predators. We've learned to respect them. They remind us that we're not separate from our world's ecosystem. We're part of it. A part that carries planet-cracking weapons," Vixtol observed dryly. "Defense technology evolved alongside everything else," Chen replied. "When your world tries to kill you daily, you learn to be prepared for anything, including," she added with a meaningful look, "visitors who might underestimate you." The implications hung in the air. Vixtol's scales shifted to a thoughtful blue. "Admiral, I believe we need to conduct a more thorough assessment. Would your government be open to a formal classification challenge?" "Challenge?" Dr. Rivera asked. "A series of tests and observations to determine your species' true capabilities. It's rare, but when preliminary classifications are disputed." Vixtol paused as another alert showed that tsunami response teams successfully averting major coastal damage. "Well, I believe this situation qualifies." Admiral Chen smiled. "Tests. Commander, we've been testing ourselves against this planet since we first walked upright. Whatever challenges you have in mind, we accept." You should understand, Nasri cautioned. The testing protocols were designed for conventional worlds. They may not be calibrated for your unique situation. Then perhaps, Colonel Tanaka suggested, it's time to recalibrate those protocols. What's the point of testing if it doesn't reflect real survival conditions? Vixtal considered this as they watched Earth's defense systems track debris from the earthquake, adjusting satellite orbits and space station positions with millisecond precision. These humans had turned their hostile world into an advantage, using its challenges as a forge for advancement. Very well, Vixtal declared. We'll begin the challenges tomorrow. But I must warn you, the galaxy will be watching. The implications of reclassifying a world upward by several levels would be unprecedented. Commander, Admiral Chen replied, her eyes reflecting Earth's light. Unprecedented is what we do best. After all, we learned from the best teacher imaginable, a planet that never stops trying to kill us. As if to emphasize her point, another alert showed volcanic activity increasing in the Pacific Ring of Fire. The humans barely glanced at it, their response teams already moving into position. Just another day on humanity's HellWorld. And soon, the galaxy would understand exactly what that meant. Trial by fire. Commander Vixtal's scales had been stuck in a mottled pattern of stress purple for the past 12 hours. Standing in Earth's Sahara Desert, watching humans conduct routine survival training, they finally understood why their species had never colonized worlds like this. This is one of your easier environments, they asked Admiral Chen, who stood comfortably in the baking heat. The Sahara? It's a good starter location, she replied, taking the sip from her water recycler. Consistent conditions, minimal predators, perfect for basic survival assessment. Nearby, a mixed team of human and alien observers watched as survival candidates navigated the dunes. The humans moved with practiced efficiency, using minimal energy despite the crushing heat. In contrast, the alien observers required constant environmental suits just to survive. Temperature extremes exceeding safe parameters. First Officer Nasri reported their environmental suits cooling systems training. Solar radiation levels dangerous. Atmospheric moisture virtually non-existent. How do your people function here? Function. We thrive here, Colonel Tanaka answered, pointing to a distant settlement. Those communities have lived in the desert for thousands of years. They've developed technologies and techniques that make this environment not just habitable but home. A sudden wind kicked up, and Vixtal's sensors screamed warnings as a wall of sand approached. The alien observers rushed for their shuttle, but the humans merely pulled up their protective gear and stood their ground. Sandstorm, Admiral Chen commented casually. Small one. Should pass in about 20 minutes. Small. Vixtal's scales flickered in disbelief. This would strip the protective coating from our ships. That's why we developed better coatings, Dr. Rivera explained from within his dust mask. Every challenge Earth presents becomes an opportunity for innovation. Watch how our teams handle this. The human survival candidates had already formed efficient groups, creating sheltered positions and deploying portable force fields that cut through the worst of the storm. They moved with the practiced ease of a species that had faced such conditions for millennia. As the storm passed, Admiral Chen received a priority communication. Her expression turned serious. Commander, would you like to observe a more dynamic challenge? We've got a situation developing in Indonesia. Hours later, Vixtal stood on the bridge of an Earth emergency response vessel, watching in amazement as humans coordinated the evacuation of an entire island. The volcano behind them belched ash and fire into the sky, while earthquakes rattled the ship's advanced stabilizers. Your people built settlements here. Knowing this could happen, Nasri asked in disbelief. The volcanic soil is incredibly fertile, Dr. Rivera explained, monitoring seismic data. Risk versus reward. We learned to predict eruptions, developed early warning systems, created evacuation protocols. We adapt to the danger rather than letting it limit us. The volcano's rumble grew louder, and Vixtol watched as human teams moved through the chaos with remarkable precision. They didn't just rescue people, they preserved crucial data, protected essential infrastructure, and even managed to save cultural artifacts. This is beyond mere survival, Vixtol realized aloud. You've turned dealing with planetary disasters into an art form. Necessity breeds innovation, Admiral Chen replied. But this is just the beginning. Would you like to see how we handle multiple concurrent crises? Before Vixtol could respond, another alert sounded. A massive solar flare was approaching Earth, threatening to disrupt communications and power grids. Instead of panic, the humans simply activated pre-planned protocols. Global power systems adjusted, satellite networks reconfigured, and planetary defense shields shimmed to life. Standard Level 1 worlds haven't even discovered solar flares, Nasri noted, their eyes blinking rapidly. Yet you have systems in place to defend against them. We learned that lesson the hard way, Colonel Tanaka said. Like everything else on Earth, space itself tries to kill us occasionally. We either adapt or perish, and humanity doesn't perish easily. As they watched Earth's defense systems coordinate a planet-wide response to the solar threat while simultaneously managing a volcanic crisis, Vixtol made a decision. Their scales shifted to a decisive goal. Admiral, I've seen enough. This classification challenge is more than just about updating records. The galaxy needs to understand what you've achieved here. Your species hasn't just survived. You've mastered challenges that most civilizations never face. Does this mean we pass your tests? Dr. Rivera asked with a slight smile. Pass. Vixtel's scales rippled with something between amusement and awe. Admiral, I don't think our testing protocols were ever adequate to measure what your species has accomplished. We need to create entirely new parameters just to describe Earth's true nature. The volcano chose that moment to unleash its full fury, sending a pyroclastic flow racing down its slopes. The humans barely flinched, their evacuation teams already well clear, their monitoring systems tracking every detail of the eruption for future study. Welcome to Earth, Admiral Chen said simply, where every day is a test, and failure has never been an option. The galactic paradigm shift. The Grand Galactic Council chamber buzzed with unprecedented activity. Representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered to discuss the report that had shaken the foundations of their civilization's understanding. On the central display, Earth rotated slowly, its seemingly peaceful blue surface masking the reality that had stunned the galaxy. High Counselor Zirax, their crystalline form refracting light in agitated patterns, called the session to order. We have convened this emergency meeting to address the classification report submitted by Commander Vixtol regarding Sol 3, designated Earth. Commander, please proceed. Vixtol's scales shimmered with conviction as they approached the podium. The memories of their Earth observations were still fresh, still almost unbelievable. Esteemed Council, our classification systems are obsolete. Earth is not merely a Level 1 world. It is something we have never encountered before. Holographic displays activated, showing Earth's various environmental challenges. Hurricanes that could level cities. Earthquakes that reshaped continents. Volcanoes that darkened skies. And through it all, humans not just surviving, but thriving. Impossible, declared the Regelian representative, their tentacles writhing in agitation. No species could evolve meaningful intelligence in such conditions. Admiral Chen stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. With respect, Representative, those conditions are precisely why we evolved as we did. Every challenge forced adaptation. Every threat sparked innovation. The chamber erupted in murmurs as more data streamed in. Earth's daily survival statistics scrolled past. Natural disasters countered. Predators avoided, environmental extremes endured. But it was the technological advancement born from these challenges that truly shocked the Council. Their space stations, Nasri explained, are built to withstand micrometeorite impacts, solar radiation, and temperature extremes that would destroy our advanced structures. Their medical technology deals routinely with trauma that our species have never had to face. A representative from a peaceful garden world spoke up. But surely such constant danger has made them aggressive, unstable. Admiral Chen activated another hologram, showing Earth's response to a recent tsunami. We channel our survival instincts into protection, into preparation. Yes, we can fight, but we prefer to defend, to preserve, to help others survive. The displays showed human emergency teams deploying worldwide, their capabilities far exceeding what the galaxy had believed possible for their classification level. Search and rescue operations that would be suicide missions for most species were standard procedure for humans. There's more, Vixtol continued. Their adaptation capabilities exceed anything in our records. Humans can survive in environments ranging from Arctic tundra to tropical jungles, from mountain peaks to ocean depths. They recover from injuries that would be fatal to most species. They even intentionally expose themselves to controlled stress to become stronger. Exercise, Admiral Chen explained to the bewildered council. We simulate environmental stress to maintain our adaptability. Even in comfortable environments, we never stop preparing for challenges. High Counselor Xyrox's crystalline form pulsed with deep thought. This changes everything. Our understanding of planetary classification, of species development, of what constitutes advancement, all must be reconsidered. The Chamber's AI updated its displays, showing the ripple effects of this revelation. Worlds previously considered too hostile for colonization might be viable with human consultation. Emergency response protocols across the galaxy could be revolutionized by Earth's experience. Even military doctrine would need revision. Any species that could casually survive on such a world would be formidable indeed. We propose, Vixtol announced, creating a new classification specifically for Earth, not based merely on technological advancement, but on planetary challenge factors and species adaptability. Under these criteria, Earth would rank as. The number appeared on all screens, causing a wave of stunned silence. Level 8, a classification so high it had previously been theoretical. Humanity, Admiral Chen addressed the Council, doesn't seek to dominate or intimidate. We offer our experience, our innovations, our perspective. We've learned that survival isn't just about enduring. It's about helping others endure too. As the Council descended into intense discussion, Vixtol approached Chen privately. Your words were diplomatic, Admiral, but the truth is clear. The galaxy just realized that humans consider normal what most species consider apocalyptic. How do you think they'll react? Chen watched the council members, seeing fear in some, fascination in others, and respect in many. They'll adapt, she said with a slight smile. After all, that's what intelligent life does. We just had to learn it faster than most. The council chamber continued to buzz with activity as the implications sank in. Earth wasn't just joining galactic civilization. It was about to revolutionize it. And humanity, tempered by their HellWorld crucible, was ready to show the galaxy what real resilience looked like. A new era. 6 months after Earth's reclassification, the changes in galactic society were already profound. The Galactic Cooperative Training Center on Mars bustled with activity as representatives from hundreds of worlds came to learn from humanity's experience. Admiral Chen, now serving as Earth's ambassador for interspecies cooperation, watched a training session through the facility's observation dome. Below, human instructors worked with alien teams, teaching them to handle conditions they'd previously considered unsurvivable. A group of crystalline Arcturians, traditionally confined to narrow environmental parameters, successfully navigated a simulated earthquake scenario. Remarkable progress, Commander Vixtol noted, their scales now comfortable with Earth's gravity. They wouldn't have even attempted such training before. Fear limits potential, Chen replied. We learned that surviving disaster isn't just about technology. It's about mindset. That's what we're really teaching here. The facility itself was a testament to humanity's influence. Built to withstand Mars' harsh conditions, it incorporated design principles that had protected Earth's cities for generations. But more importantly, it represented a fundamental shift in how the galaxy approached challenges. Dr. Rivera entered the observation room, excitement evident in his expression. The Centaurian delegation just approved the Joint Colony Project. They want to terraform a world they previously considered too hostile. With human advisors, Vix Tall asked. Better, Rivera grinned. They want full partnership. They've realized that combining their advanced terraforming technology with our survival expertise creates possibilities neither of us could achieve alone. Across the solar system, similar collaborations were forming. Earth's shipyards worked with alien engineers, incorporating human durability standards into galactic vessel designs. Medical teams shared knowledge, blending advanced alien healing techniques with humanity's remarkable trauma recovery methods. We've received another emergency request, Colonel Tanaka announced, joining them at the viewport. A Level 3 world is facing an extinction-level event. Their council wants human crisis management teams to lead the response. Chen nodded, unsurprised. In the months since Earth's reclassification, humanity had become the galaxy's go-to species for handling planetary disasters. What other civilizations saw as catastrophic, humans saw as Tuesday. Deploy the Rapid Response Unit, she ordered, and include the new alien trainees who've completed disaster certification. It's time they got real experience. Outside the dome, a dust storm rolled across the Martian landscape. None of the facility's occupants paid it any attention, another sign of how quickly other species were adapting to human perspectives on environmental challenges. You know, Vixtel mused, watching emergency teams practice high-gravity rescue operations. When we first arrived at Earth, we thought we were discovering a primitive world. Instead, we found teachers. Teachers who learned from the harshest instructor imaginable, Tanaka added. Earth never gave us a choice about becoming stronger. A holographic display showed the current status of various human-alien projects across the galaxy. Colonies being established on worlds previously deemed uninhabitable. Defense systems being upgraded with human survival principles. Medical facilities incorporating Earth's trauma protocols. The classification change was just the beginning, Rivera observed. We're not just sharing technology or techniques, we're sharing our entire approach to existence, the art of turning adversity into advantage, and changing the galaxy's understanding of what's possible. Chen added, every species faces challenges. We're just helping them realize those challenges are opportunities. The emergency alert system activated, signaling the deployment of the crisis response team. Humans and aliens moved together with practiced efficiency, boarding ships designed to withstand conditions that would have been considered impossible 6 months ago. Ambassador, a young alien trainee approached Chen, their bioluminescent patterns showing excitement rather than fear. I just wanted to say, understanding how humans view challenges has changed everything for my people. We're not afraid anymore. Chen smiled, remembering humanity's own journey from fear to capability. That's the real lesson Earth taught us. It's not about being fearless, it's about facing fear and moving forward anyway. As the response ships launched into the Martian sky, Vixtel's scales shifted to a color of profound realization. You know, we came to classify your world, but you ended up reclassifying our entire understanding of civilization. That's humanity for you, Chen replied, watching the ships disappear into the dust storm without hesitation. We never could resist turning a problem into a possibility. The observation dome filled with light as Mars' sun broke through the storm. Below, more training sessions began, more partnerships formed, more boundaries dissolved. Earth's classification as a Level 8 world had opened the galaxy's eyes, but it was humanity's spirit, forged in the crucible of their HellWorld home, that was truly changing the future. The age of limitations was over. The era of human-inspired possibility had begun.